I'm talking with Ken Schmidt, former Director of Communications at Harley-Davidson, who just spoke at our opening general session this morning. Ken, when you first started at Harley-Davidson, the company was in kind of a crisis situation. You were brought in to turn some things around. What were some of the first things that you did?
Well, some of the first of all, there was tremendous buy-in. Internally, everybody knew that what was happening outside of the business and inside just wasn't working. Nobody exactly knew which direction to go, but there was tremendous enthusiasm to do something different. So it was really a matter of harnessing that energy and getting people to look at the business the way the outside world did. And people thought, because the brand was so distinct for so long and had a much different reputation for so long, that that would be enough to sustain the business. When in reality, we knew that existing customers saw us as one thing, but the rest of the world saw us as something completely different, and for most people that was negative. So we had to stop looking at the business the way people who love us do and look at the business the way the other 99.9% of the world does, which means we need to put a different face on the business. We need to present ourselves in a way that is more attractive and more likable and more in tune with what people want out of life, not just what they want out of a motorcycle company. And as leadership of the organization began to think, hey, you know what, that might, that's different enough that it might actually work. And thankfully the culture at Harley was such that the leadership thought, hey, you know, if you got an idea, run with it and see what happens. And they supported it, and things began to change, and the whole concept of doing things differently began taking hold inside the business. That kind of became the mantra or the driving force behind us. Take everything that we've done for years and deliberately, and with great energy, stop doing that.
So do you have a few quick and easy ways that our members might implement some change in their organizations and differentiate themselves?
Well, what's interesting is I think if people go back and look at their business and they take whatever their go-to-market materials are, if it's a catalog, if it's websites, sell sheets, brochures, whatever those things are, and just take some black tape and cover their name or their logo, wherever that is, and bring in some of their competitive stuff. Do the same thing. Just cover up any manifestation of brand or company name behind this. Scatter a lot of those materials out on like a conference room table, or just bring some of your employees or anybody that's really close to the business. That you have 10 seconds to find our stuff. And you'd be amazed, first of all, how many people can't, because they see no different. Oh my gosh, our stuff looks exactly the same as the competitor. And then you think, well, think of how that looks when it's sitting on the desk of somebody that we're trying to sell to, and they're getting hit with all of this stuff. Let that be what drives us to say, all right, let's look at everything that we're doing from a visual standpoint and make our stuff radically different than what everybody else is doing. We're going to present either imagery is going to be much larger, much smaller, much richer. We're going to change our color palette. Everybody gets drawn to using blues or reds. Let's take a color that's different than everybody else's and own that. And the motorcycle at Harley's orange, and it's orange on purpose. So that's our color, that's our deal. People begin to associate that with us. Everybody else will be blue, yellow, and green. Just simple visual cues. Then take that a step further, say, let's look at the language that we're using. When we're talking about quality and reliability and commitment to customers, and everybody else is doing that, say, let's find some verbiage, some phraseology, slogan, logo, tagline, whatever that is, that does not sound even remotely close to what anybody else in the business is using, and just own that, make that part of the business. And also at the same time make a commitment within the business that we want people to repeat that line, and if we want them to repeat that description of our business, that means we need to continuously use that in front of that customer or potential customer, because we want them to describe us to other people. We want them describing us with the same language that we use. So let's cut through all the layers, say, how do we want people to think of us? How do we want them to react to us? What do we want them to say about us? Condense that down to as few words as humanly possible, and every dealing with our customer or potential customer, that's the language we're going to use. It's going to be on our website, it's going to be our brochure, that's front and center to everything. And those are simple, not overly expensive things that a business can do. And it's also things that you can rally people around quickly. You know, it's fun to be different.
Yeah.
It's fun to use humor and wit in marketplace where it's not expected. It's fun to be radically different or off color and where people don't expect it. Because if 5 minutes later somebody remembers that you came, or 5 minutes later they remember that you did something differently, you just made the needle move.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ken. Those
Oh,
are
thank you.
terrific ideas. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.